My name is Ricky Williams, familiarly known as Laker or Andwele. I am a resident of St. Michael Northwest, having been born in Goodland and raised up in Deacon's Farm. I moved into the farm when I was 18 years old. My parents got one of the houses down there, and my father sent me in the house before the family actually moved down into the house. So I spent a little time down there by myself, and it was it's an experience that I will never forget, because I come out of a pit toilet atmosphere. And I remember moving into the farm. I was going to school at Foundation at the time, but Foundation School did not have a water toilet. We had these things like this pulled down, called latrines. So that's a whole different thing, right? When I moved into the farm, it was an experience that would last me forever. Because I moved into this house, first thing, you got a bathroom in the house. Never seen that before. And when I went into the bathroom, curious, I looked at the toilet. And it was like, this must be the toilet. So I pressed it, and I saw the water churning. Shh. And I can't explain to people how I felt then, but it was something like extraordinary happening. So I keep pressing the handle, and pressing the handle, just watching the water coming down and disappearing. All of a sudden I felt like I want to use the toilet, because I got experienced this. I've never had this before. But prior to that, I was sitting down on a pit toilet. I had to be accompanied by my parents to go to the pit. And they would, if it was the evening time, they would have to light something, like a mattress, a newspaper, and run the cockroaches or whatever it was from around there. So that was my first experience. No, that was an experience, that pit toilet. And the Deacon's Farm itself was an experience, because here it is that now I live in a nice place. In my opinion, it was a very nice place. We had 3 bedrooms, nice little bathroom, a nice little kitchen. You got enclosed yard. And I started then to be aware of politics, because my father was a political animal, and he used to be with Earl Barrow. I knew Earl Barrow coming to my house with my dad, and listened to him talking and stuff like that, and then experiencing Deacon's Farm, how he took people and carried them to the next level of living, because at that time that was a different level, a higher level of living. Well, I grew up as an athlete, natural athlete. I used to play all types of sports. You name it, I played it. Actually, the guys used to call me louse, like a ball louse. I played all types of ball sports. And that area produced some excellent athletes, cricketers, footballers, basketball players, you name it, tennis players. So that environment was really conducive to the platform that I achieved after I went on to play at the national level football. And then I went past national level. I was one of the first people that ever played professional football in Barbados. That was my dream at the time. When they said that you could not do it, it was not achievable, I did it along with my buddy Jerry Goddard. We had a contract in Trinidad and Tobago as professional football players playing for KSI Phoenix. Cricket, I was at the cusp of being a Barbadian cricketer. I was taken to trials, or sent for to go to trials, early days when I was even at Foundation School. Basketball, I played football for Foundation, basketball for Foundation. I played water polo for Foundation, even though I wasn't a really good swimmer. I played every available sport that you could think of for my school. I got into music, again being from the area, the Deacons, Goodland area. Back in those days, you used to go, every area had a band. Sometimes 3 or 4 bands in one area. It was really conducive to music back in that time. And the band closest to me was a band by the name of Fireballs. Strange name, eh? Run by a guy called Keith Elcott. And I used to go by him because he was my friend. I listened to the band rehearsing. At Foundation School also. Foundation School was a hive of music. because out of foundation school became the Troubadours coming to foundation. A group called Lampshade, there was Revelations, a lot of bands, foundation school boys were involved in music. So music wasn't then far away from me. But I got more involved in my district when I go to the band house and listen to the fireballs rehearsing. And then the music bug hit me. I could always play a bit of guitar. And I started to play around with the guitar, not knowing that they were paying interest in my playing. And an opportunity came for the band to go on a cruise ship. And told the guys said that they can't go because of commitments to family and work. And the leader of the band asked me if I would go. I said, well, I can't play good enough to go. He said, that ain't true. I hear you here playing around, I know you can do it. And when you can't do it, I will show you. And that was my baptism into music at the very early years. I met Jackie Opel just before he died. Jackie Opel was doing a show at the Globe Cinema. And my uncle Mark Williams, he was the promoter of the show. Jackie was not allowed, back in those days, the promotion of the show used to be guys driving around with a bullhorn advertising the show. There wasn't social media, only one radio station. And Mark asked me to drive Jackie in the convertible car throughout the area advertising the show. And that is how I first met Jackie Opel. And I started to work with him. And I realized that he was not an ordinary guy. From day one, I found that there was something different about this guy. I did that for 3 weeks, and then I heard that he was in an accident 4 in the morning. Mark called me and told me that Jackie just died. And a part of me like it died at the same time with him. Because what I gained from him, musically and socially, in that time, I've never had from no other person in my life. If there's two people that affected my life, it's Earl Barrow and Jackie Opel. I was introduced to Wendy Allen by a keyboard player who said at the time that when he was back in Barbados and they were looking to put a band together, and he wanted me to play in the band. I had heard about Wendy before, I admired her from a distance, but never really got close to her until then. And when we started to rehearse, and I heard the lady sing, and I was like, wow, this woman is special. So we started to work in Barbados for a little while, and then cruise ship came calling, and Colin Spencer, who's a Californian guy that sings in Barbados, he called me and asked me if I would sub for him on a cruise ship. He was getting off for 3 weeks, and he wanted somebody to come up to the cruise ship for 3 weeks. I said, man, why not? And I asked the others in the band, and they never went on a cruise ship before. So they said, yeah. And the 3 weeks turned out to 11 years. She had liked it so much, and the response that we got on the cruise ship, primarily because of her and her talent, is that was an overwhelming experience. I can remember we were in St. Martin in a restaurant, and we got out the restaurant and decided that it was Wendy and an American singer who used to work on the ship too. Said they want to go and do some shopping, big lady ship. So they had to go in this big store where they sell big things. And while they were on this work, listen to this carefully, while they were in the store shopping, the shop assistant heard the American accent and the Bajan accent. But what really made it so special that when Jane, the American, said Wendy, and when he answered as a Bajan, the woman was from St. Martin. I heard a singer with the name Wendy. She got curious, so she asked, "You are Wendy Allen?" And if you know Wendy Allen well, Wendy Allen don't like to talk about herself. So she didn't say anything, and the lady said, the American woman said, "That is the famous Wendy Allen." The woman almost died. The woman shut the store and took out the telephone and called her daughter and said, "Come to the store now." So the girl came in a little while, because you know St. Martin too big. And when the girl came to the store, she introduced the girl to Wendy as Wendy. Wendy, meet Wendy. long and short of it was, she named her daughter after Wendy Allen because she heard Wendy Allen sing all these years. She was a fan, a die-hard fan. Spool's music, and that was the effect of Spool's music. I saw it firsthand throughout, not in Barbados, I saw it firsthand throughout the Caribbean, as far up to Miami, while we were touring on the ship, and the guests, when we started to play Spools, used to be always curious and ask us, they like that reggae song. We had to explain it wasn't reggae, it was Spools. And we started to play the Spools, and even the Jamaicans were wondering, why you all don't play this music a lot more? Because this music, Spools is the most infectious music that you can think about. And Spools, the theme of Spools has always been about love. So Spools always puts you in that mode. It's a pity that we have not seen the value of Spools music in Barbados. For whatever reason, the people in authority, they keep, I remember the St. Elbar stopped Carnival in Barbados in 1958. Told them to go out and find a festival that is suitable to Barbados. They went back, people like Nigel Harper and that crowd that was inside the ministry, and came back with the theme crop over. And that's how crop over formed, you know. For us to stop doing Carnival, we were celebrating the finishing of the crop. Crop is over. And that was supposed to be our festival. Unfortunately, they take it right back to Carnival. For whatever reason, they don't know. They still got the pick of the crop. They had Kadum at this, they had this jump up this, and they never once saw to have a Spools festival in that crop over festival to this day. Yeah, I never thought that I would have been involved with elective politics, but I had always liked the atmosphere of politics. And I remember my uncle, my mother's brother, Mark, he too was involved with politics, but not at the elective. You know, he used to be in the pressure group with Al Gilts and Eric Seeley back in the day, where they would get involved with the issues of the day and air their views, right? And I used to be around them. And I started to learn the nuances of politics and how to present yourself on political platforms and stuff like that. But in fast forward everything, in 2022, I was asked, as far back as 2020, I was asked to be a candidate. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was at the time the General Secretary of the Democratic Party, Dyson Mears. And I said, so why don't get involved in politics? I said, man, no, man, I ain't in politics already. He said, I mean, so, I mean like being elective politics, because I mean you say the right things, and I've been watching you all over the years working. I said, man, that ain't for me, man. I just like supporting the party. But he said, no, man, you should get involved. And I left it at that. And he had left being General Secretary, and then Verley Pisa became the president. And in 2022, they spring the election for the Democratic Party. And she asked me if I would be a candidate. I said, yeah, I would do it. But the time was so short. But because I had loved my party, then I said, well, I would do it. I would make the sacrifice and do it. Knowing full well that it would be a Herculean task. It would be a miracle for me to make a date there, right? And I got involved, and I realized that this is something that I should do. Because then it's a difference when you're a candidate. And there's a real difference between a candidate and a canvasser. Because people is more they more speak to you. They will tell you things that they won't tell a canvasser. And I realized it plight a lot of people. And I said, boy, I got to get involved in this. But this time, next election, I go into my area, which is St. Michael Northwest. Well, that's where my neighbor Springberry in St. Michael Northwest. I have been a contributing member in that community my whole life. Actually, I like to call it, I had applied for that job from the time I was born. I was working in that constituency forever. I got a body of work there in sports and in social work. If you go through the line from breath that constituency, whether you are a fan of me or not, they will tell you that Laker did a lot of work down here with these people. So it irritates me when I see people getting involved in politics without a body of work, you know. You just want to be a candidate, but you want to run for constituency. You live in that constituency too, and nobody knows you. But all of a sudden, you get up and you want the same people to vote for you when all your life, 40 years and over, you never did nothing in that constituency of worth. I played professional football overseas, and when I came back home, being a professional footballer, I learned a lot of things about football that I never knew. And I was always thinking that whenever I get an opportunity to get back home, I am going to teach the people in my area how to play football properly. Because the reason why I say that is when I went to play professional football, I had to learn how to play football properly. And I thought that I should be able to take what I learned there and bring it and teach to my people. So I said, so then I started the Deacons Farm Football Club in 1981. It was the same day that my son born. It's the same day that the idea hit me to start this football team. February the 15th, 1981. And we started the football team in Deacons Farm in 1981. From scratch. I mean from scratch. The people in the area, the football people in the area, they believed in me. And they were all playing in all types of clubs. And when they said they could start a team, everybody lined up, almost everybody came and decided that they would get involved in the football team. And we started to build that team. But not only football, because at the time Ben Strong was alive, and when we got into conversation, I told him we can start a football team. He said, well, I can start a hockey team too, because he was coaching hockey. And we put together a club, and we had a hockey team and a football team, right? And both those teams went to national prominence. Both of those teams were champions in Barbados. The hockey team, he had men and women, and the football team. That football team is still prevalent today. I started road tennis. The first ever Banks road tennis tournament, I started that in Deacons Farm. The first tournament was kept in Deacons Farm at the car. We put a court by the car park down by where Kirk shop is. That was Barbados' first ever road tennis tournament. I can remember when the tennis court was in disarray, and over the years it never was repaired, so they left it out. I led a team up there, a couple of us, and we decided to put a case to the government at the time, and the government said that if we would prove to them that we will keep it from being destroyed, they rebuild it. It is still there today. That was me. I led a team up on the hill that faces the highway. That was a swamp down there in Deacons. It was a swamp. I led my football team down there and said we can create a football field here. And we went and started with that swamp, digging the mud out of it to get to a point. Then it was a plain field. Now they bring big rocks and put them in that place down there. The biggest project that I had was when in 2012 they asked me to manage the Deacon Development Project. And I went down there with just an assistant and myself. They had intended to bring the skills training down there, but I had other views. I had a vision for Deacons, all this I just wanted the opportunity to be able to put it in place. So I asked my bosses to help me get a staff put together, because we got to keep this place from being run down. And they give me 2 general workers, a watchman, and we started with 2 people working, you know. We get 2 general workers. You should have seen the transformation of that place until 2018 when the Barbados Day Party won the government and shut it down. Prior to that, we were just developing a radio station and a recording studio in there. We had a gym in there. We had a conference room in there. We had a hair salon that was just built in there. We had a restaurant being developed in there, and we had the facilities. We had the hostel upstairs for when we bring things in, and we had the facility. The playing field was there for the football team and the cricket team, and we had a place next to it that was promised to build a gymnasium there. It was promised, and promised by some prominent people that had a meeting that we had down at the, they ain't call the name now, I'll call the name at another day. But you could ask Bjorn Bjerken, Mark Maloney, Chris Sinclair, Derek Allen, Junior Brewster, and myself sat at the meeting there, and they decided it was Derek Allen that brought up the idea of the gymnasium at the time. Because the gymnasium, the National Gymnasium was in disarray. It wanted repairing, and it was out of operation, and there was no place for the athletes that used that. And Derek said, well, we don't build a gymnasium down here, and we cleared the spot off, and we had that meeting with that person that I talk about there. We had the mock up to show what it would look like, and the people came and they cleaned it up, and they never came. They came back just before the election in 2013, and never came back after. The spot is still there for the gymnasium. So we would have had a gymnasium there, all the facilities that I just told you about there, recording studio and a radio station, because I believe that the community should have a radio station. The communities in Barbados. And if we got the facility to do it, we should have it. And we got all types of radio personalities that live in the farm itself. Wendy Burke is from Deacon's Farm. The guy that works at the Nation, Barry, is from Deacon's Farm. There's a guy called Mikey Mix. When he heard about it, he came to me and told me he heard about we want to put a radio station together. He's willing to help. The fellow Valentino, or what was his name, he come and said, Ricky, I hear about what you all want to do, so I want to come and help. They were real enthusiastic about it. And we can get the government of the day to see it. They had all the opportunities to develop this facility. You know what it would have meant if we had a radio station and a recording studio in that facility, along with the sporting activities going on there. I get cold bumps now. These youngsters would not have been on this street. Some of the blood of these youngsters are on these people's hands. We gotta start making sports and get serious with sports. Sports is one of the biggest businesses in the world, if not the biggest. Sports and entertainment, the amount of wealth that black people, or people of color, whatever you choose to call it, make their living from. Nothing is second to it. Sports and entertainment. Check all these sporting teams in the United States of America, in Britain, in Europe, and look and see. Look at the prices, look at the salaries that these people get. It's unheard of. The athletes now are becoming billionaires and still playing. It don't happen in no other business. And we in Barbados gonna get serious with it. We gotta start preparing our youth for that world of business, sports business. And we gotta start from 4 years old. From the time they enter primary school, it has to be part of the curriculum. It cannot be an extracurricular activity. It gotta be part of the curriculum. You could see from early, between 4 and 7 years old, where a child looks like he could be. And you have the same way you got the facility for academics, and the same way you got the facility like Samuel Prescott for skills and stuff. You got that facility for athletes, because athletics or athletes sports is a business too. And we are not doing that. So I propose, we in Friends of Democracy propose that from 4 years old, we be looking at sports in school and entertainment as a serious entity, and start developing kids from that age. Right through school, give them the best possible training they can get, so that when they reach the international stage, they can compete, not just go and be part just to compete, but go to win. Trinidad, Jamaica, and now Curacao went to the World Cup football. Curacao is going now. Jamaica big and Trinidad went there already. Now, I'm a football player. well, not now, obviously, but when it was big football, right? The only team in the English-speaking Caribbean that could beat Barbados was Trinidad and Tobago. And it wasn't a beat down 2-1, 3-1, close, but they were always better than us. Jamaica? Never. Guyana? Never. These teams now on the cuts of World Cup and professional players throughout the world, and we cannot even beat Virgin Islands or Grand Cayman. Something is seriously wrong. In a rocket science, you see what happening? And don't bring the notion that, but they bring the people that live in Europe and that they got parents that were born here and put in things. That's a weak excuse. The standard of football, the standard of sports in Barbados is below poor. And I say that humbly. I'm not trying to degrade it. It is that poor. Football, especially football. We used to be the greatest cricket team in the world. In the world. We boast about Sir Garfield Sobers as the greatest cricketer on the earth and Mars. And now we can't be Afghanistan and Ceylon. Something is wrong. And what is wrong is that we are not taking sports seriously in the Caribbean, especially in Barbados. And the only way we can do it is to start it from the bottom up. Because anything from the top is a grave. We got to start from the bottom and be serious about it. We got to bring the people that can set the system up for us. We bring them here and pay them what they want. Jamaica, when they got to World Cup football, they brought a top coach. That's how they reach the World Cup, because you got to bring the best to achieve the best. And then when he left something there for them to follow it. Trinidad did the same thing. Curacao doing the same thing. Everybody is doing the same thing. Why are we languishing about here? We got coaches in Barbados that cannot understand football, that coach on a national level. How can you have somebody coaching a national level that never get past national level in football? It is madness. And it got stopped. And when I say that, I'm not saying that to try to belittle anybody. I'm speaking this because I want to see Barbados succeed in sports, because of the wealth that we have in sports. Entertainment now, that's another ball game. Because we produce Rihanna. You don't want, I don't have to say anything more. Rihanna is the greatest entertainer that the world has ever seen, whether you like it or not. The only criticism that Rihanna gets is from Beijing, Rihanna is the greatest thing that ever hold a microphone in her hand. I know she's gone into business. She's bigger than Louis Vuitton and Michael Kors and all these people. She's a billionaire. From there in Westbury Road, that little girl that went to school at Commuter School. You maybe can't see the talent that we got in Barbados, and that Rihanna will tell you that they got 1,000 girls in Barbados that got that talent or better. Maybe can't see that and nurture it and produce it to the world. You got NIFCA producing every year for the past 1,000 years, a tremendous amount of talent. And when NIFCA done in November, I think it is, you forget all about NIFCA till next year. But then you got government carrying people to showcase talent, and nobody from NIFCA. Then a contingent from NIFCA going up. The young people in Barbados with all this talent, and then carrying a bunch of people that tired. And these are the things that irritate me, is that we can't look at the picture bigger and stop being parochial. We still with this political thing when we deal with people's lives. Politics got its space. When politics done, we all Barbadies. So I don't want to hear, because I vote for you, that I can't help you. This rubbish got to stop. These institutions that we got here in Barbados, crippling the Bajans. Because they got a lot. Look, the center that I told you about just now, Deacon Development Project, when the government changed in 2018, the opposition that promised so much of Barbadians and cares so much of Barbadians, when it changed, they stood on a platform in Deacon Farm and said they're going to shut down there. How you can shut down a place that doing skills training, that got 9 people employed at it? that trying the effort best to produce a facility that nobody in the Caribbean ain't got. And you took proud pride in saying they can shut it down. And some people, I don't want to call them fools on here, go vote for you that live in the same area. You got to be mad. And this got to stop. We got to stop being that road here. We got to stop being, hey, it's a B, and if it's a B, and then you're going to wear shirt and for you got to stop being Bajans. And if I had friends in democracy, because I like friends in democracy, I like the policies of friends in democracy, then we in the government, and you is a B or whatever, and you can do the job, I gave the job because we all Barbadians. These people too. Yeah. Stop ignoring me. That's it. My friends, because it seems to be a cliche, but we're the friends of democracy. So I think that I have the authority to save my friends. My name is Ricky Williams. I've been known my whole life as Laker. But let me give you a little story. In 2005, I went to South Africa with my church on a missionary journey. And while we were there, in company with some South Africans, and introduced ourselves, there was a South African guy said, that is not your name. A name has a significant meaning. That's your slave name. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. And he said, from this day on, your name is Andwele. It has a serious meaning. And I left it for a while. Only people that were around me would call me Andwele. And when I announced that I was being a part of the Friends of Democracy for this election, one of my fellow members from church told me, he said, I saw you on television and you said, tell the people you was Laker. You see, you were Laker, but when you were born again as a Christian and you went in that water and came back up, you came back up as Andwele. Remember that you're a new man. So I present myself to you as a new man with a new mission for the people of Barbados, especially the people of St. Michael's Northwest. They've got to stop ignoring us, we are people too.
Talking about music, the beat so strong, gonna last so long. Talking about music, the beat so strong, gonna last so long. I may like to know what's going on. Good beat takes my soul, now it's gone. Talking about music, the beat so strong, gonna last so long. Talking about music, the beat so strong, it's gonna last so long. Our man didn't know that school beat was so hard. School beat made my brothers all so glad.